Well, hello everyone. Don Garman here from Mirador Capital Partners. Happy 4th of July. Happy belated 4th of July. It was yesterday, obviously. Today is July 5th. So it is important in our lives because it was 10 years ago today that Mirador Capital Partners was founded and formed. And many of you who are regular watchers of these videos received the call from one of us 10 years ago asking you to take this journey with us. So we are incredibly grateful that you did. And it's been an incredible ride since then. So the first part of this, I'm going to make some announcements and share some things that we have in mind for the next 10 and beyond, and make maybe just a couple comments about the state of markets in the first half of the year at the end. Been a very interesting 6 months to be sure. So on the Mirador side, it has been an incredible journey, and I cannot thank all of you enough for the support and the business and the referrals and continuing to entrust us in this, we hope and believe to be key role in your lives, helping to remove some of the friction around the incredible success you've had. Some of that is protection. Some of it is dreaming and adjusting to the life's changes along the way. And we try to be there for you at those key times and simplify and make things a little bit easier for you. We've had to do that navigating the last decade of what has been some wild capital markets, activity and obstacles at certain points along the way, including pandemics and economy closures and zero interest rates and not zero interest rates over the last 14 months. So all of it has given us our fair share of anxiety and sleeplessness along the way. However, one thing we can now look back on and say, if we had started this out 10 years ago and put certain numbers on paper for where we'd be over the next 10, most of the people I'm aware of, I think, would be pretty pleased with the progress that we've made in the last 10, despite some of the obstacles. So this is the point of patience and persevering through very, very uncomfortable moments. And hopefully, as we all know, I love to look at the trailing 3 years. Even the trailing 3-year view looks, it certainly blends away some of the more mysterious and anxiety-filled headlines that we've all had to endure. And the first 6 months of this year has certainly been no different. And I just imagine that will persist forever, and that's part of what we have to continue to navigate, which we will. On the Mirador side, many key exciting announcements to come. So if you look at where we started 10 years ago as a firm, many of you were there and remember, it was a very small-ish firm, and we believed certainly mighty in our vision for the future. And somehow we go into our 10-year anniversary 10 people up from where we were 10 years ago. That was sort of my idea at the beginning, adding a person a year or thereabouts, trying to continue to build out the support structure, because the more we have and the older we get, the more complexity, tax law changes, money needs to flow around, all of those things. So we have unassailably and unequivocally the strongest operations team we've ever had by a mile. So we are fully prepared for the next decade of our growth. In that process, we needed to add some ability to serve additional clients. So we've ran into the condition where we were getting more inbound interest than we had people to serve new people. So we have bulked up with a couple of new hires, some financial planning muscle, some additional financial advisory capabilities. So what I'm going to do probably in 2 weeks, not a market update video, but a firm update video. And as we did once before, happened to be one of our most popular videos, put everyone in the conference room and we will sort of talk about what each person does for Mirador and what they ultimately do for you, or what role they play in terms of trying to help us help you, which is sort of what everybody who works at Mirador is here to do. So we will continue to integrate the different friction points around estate planning and tax planning, and wherever possible, bring some things in-house and not to attempt to replace our CPA function and our estate planning attorney function, both vital roles. But if we can take some of that planning on ourselves and have our own capabilities in-house, then it will remove some of the number of meetings back and forth that can take many months, and challenging calendars to coordinate, and get that done in a more streamlined fashion for your benefit. We do understand that, you know, some of these meetings that need to be coordinated, while they don't specifically have to do with us, we do sit at sort of the confluence of these different functions, and sometimes take the responsibility on of trying to coordinate all of this stuff and air traffic control it. And so the more we can bring in-house, the less meetings we need to continue to try to schedule for everybody. So look forward to some announcements around that in the coming weeks and months as well. We will also be having a new advisor join us with his own business. So that's get ready for that announcement too. That's a new thing for us. We haven't welcomed people into our Mirador family here in that way before. So this is going to be a new and exciting new chapter, and could be, you know, could provide a home for other people who like the way we do what we do, and want to come join us here and bring their clients in as well. So I'll conclude this by saying, and I said it to my team internally here, none of this is possible without you, and we don't take that lightly. We don't kid ourselves about that. It has been my philosophy from day one. We have to continue to fight for your business every day and re-earn it every day. And that will always be my philosophy. I know nearly every one of you and your families by name. I can pretty much share the arc of our story. It's what motivates me to come do this job. It's why a lot of people talk about the stress of this job, and I consider it more a duty. I think it's a duty and a privilege to be able to come do this job because of the letters and the occasional moments where we get to share, where people explain what role this has, what the value that it's been for them. And so that will continue to drive me on a personal level. So with that, so we don't make this a half an hour video, I'm going to start on the markets piece, which I think is a very interesting. So I was reflecting on this morning. We've heard it, if you watch CNBC, that it's a narrow market, right? And the market has the index has done well for the first 6 months, but it's been the Magnificent Seven, the seven, mega cap tech stocks that have experienced exciting recovery this year. So since those are the largest companies, they have the greatest influence on the indexes. And so everybody's breathless about the index performance so far this year. So that's great. So 6 months is a long time and a short time, and however you want to measure it, doesn't mean anything to me particularly, other than it's a fact of what has happened on the index level for the last 6 months. So of the Magnificent Seven, we own 4 with sort of reasonable size, fifth in a smaller size, and then not the other 2. So everybody now wants me to just own those 2 and just participate right along, whatever that means. And so the point of this is the Magnificent Seven, as great as they've been, the breadth has been very narrow. And so anytime you own more than those 7, then all of the performance are going to start to be dragged down by the other things that haven't participated. So, and I know this is an AI moment, and I'm happy for the promise of AI and what it will do for all of us, making our lives easier and information easier to achieve, and all the different ways it could make us more productive. But changing our whole style around to just own 7 things is not what we do. So I guess for better or for worse, I have been a natural skeptic and have avoided fads my whole life. This will go back, never owned a pet rock, never owned a hula hoop, never, I've never been kind of a let's jump on the net. I didn't really get into the pop songs of the moment. So, and similarly, it was just 3 months ago that people wanted us to get out of treasuries because they were worried that we were going to default on our debt. We had the second and third largest bank failures within 2 weeks in our nation's history. And I got calls repeatedly about should we get out of our money market funds for fear of, financial collapse. So and before that, crypto, and before that, SaaS, and before that, small caps. And so the sort of the news cycle, the frenzy, the mob, the fad element of Wall Street is a real thing. And it feels in the moment like you got to be there and you got to participate in all of that stuff. I don't necessarily think you do. I think you can find things that you would like to own and you can own them, and then you can manage the risk around owning them at the index level. And so when you measure our progress on a 3-year basis, trailing 3 against even the S&P 500, we look quite good. Why? Well, because we didn't lose nearly as much in 2022 as everyone else did. So the math does work, and the ability to have a smoother ride and allow yourself not to be sucked into the FOMO of the moment, it does provide a benefit in terms of the comfort of being in a less turbulent aircraft than the more turbulent flight path. I find that enjoyable. And this is important to remember. Many of our clients are in a condition where making a dollar helps them less than losing a dollar hurts them, because it's compounding. And if you're taking money out, you don't want to take money out of an account that's down more than it could be. So even if you're not, there is a benefit to keeping the mathematics of compound interest in your favor. So if you just trace from our peak day to where we are in all of our strategies except for one, it's less than the index averages by a lot. So there is some method to the madness of keeping risk low. So could the powerful effects of the Magnificent Seven in the first half of the year reverse? Yes. Might they not? Sure. So the point is, it isn't right to be in the position of expecting us to guess which way and then try to go all in on which way we are coin flipping for the next 6 months. Who cares? I don't care. So that isn't the name of the game for us at all. Certainly for me, and it never has been, and it never will be. So it's a more permanent, persistent, balanced approach. And that is more appropriate for the type of clients that we have in our core strategies. We have other strategies that are more high octane, that are, that look and feel more like the growthier type things. And so what I find interesting is there's a certain small group of people that are now trying to change strategy based on what they think is going to do the best of our strategies. So it's turning into a bit of a second derivative thing. So far, it hasn't been a very prosperous exercise, but time will tell. So first 6 months of the year are a wrap. Should we be up more? If we didn't own the things that were more conservative or did better last year, we would, but we do. And so I'm certainly comfortable with where we sit in the first half of the year. I have not, I don't feel like anything is off the table, which is if some of the trends reverse, I still believe we're going to have a good second half of the year. And if they don't, I believe we'll have a good second half of the year. I think that's how sound our current positioning is. Why do I believe that? And if I didn't, I could change it at any time, as I have done and continue to do. So it is a balancing act of wanting to have the upside, but also not wanting to be in a position where, you just buy stuff that doubled because it doubled. That doesn't make it a better investment. It makes it a worse investment. Some of it, I agree, is cheaper than it was when it was lower because they earn more. But some of this stuff is just going to look like a big suck forward, like it was in COVID. And so I just don't need to. We don't need to buy into it. So therefore, I'm more comfortable not doing that. So that was a bit of a ramble, but I'm trying to address some of the specific questions I've gotten over the last couple of weeks. I feel the pull of that 1999 feeling. I remember it well, where the recognition that there were a few things that were working really well was enough to get people to actually sell everything that wasn't that, to pack in to the few things. I haven't gotten emails like that in 23 years, and I've gotten a couple to say, hey, why are we bothering with any of this other stuff? Why don't we just own these 5 that I know are working? And my response to them, as it is in this video, is it's never been a good recipe for long-term wealth building to just chase what just did the best in a 6-month period. It's generally not the case. So I will take the odds and say probably not going to be the case this time either. And I think continuing to stick to our process once again will prove to be the right call, and that will, and hopefully that will be proven right again. So I'll leave it where I started it, which is gratitude and appreciation for you. It has been an incredible 10 years. I reflected, we just got back from a lovely family trip 10 years ago. My daughter was 11 and my son was 8. Now she's graduated from college and he's going into college. And so in 10 years, past with the blink of an eye, the woman behind that little sign there, Audrey, who has been the, the yin to my yang, or the yang to my yin, and has done so much. And I can say for each of you, some of you may not even know what she's done for you, but she's certainly taken up the slack in every way on the Mirador side, and gotten in and figured stuff out that I don't know if I would have been capable. So I will give her a thank you by name, not to leave anybody out, but I won't go into everybody individually, except for you, all of our clients. So thanks again. Look forward to more announcements. We'll do one more video before the end of July to introduce some new folks to you. And as always, check in if you need anything. We will talk to you soon.